The altar trembled under Jeremy's grip, the weight of 200 eyes boring into his back like Judgment Day spotlights. "Keith," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder in the hushed sanctuary. But the spot beside him, meant for vows, for forever, was empty, a void colder than the winter wind rattling the stained glass panes. In that heartbeat of silence, a folded letter fluttered from the empty chair, landing at his feet like a guillotine's blade, its scrawled words already searing his soul. "I'm sorry, Jeff. I can't. The truth is, I'm not who you think." Jeremy Harper had always believed in second chances, the kind that small-town America peddled like apple pie at county fairs, sweet on the surface, but laced with the bitter aftertaste of regret. Growing up in Willow Creek, Ohio, a speck on the map where cornfields stretched like God's indifferent shrug, he'd learned early that love was a gamble. At 28, with his tousled brown hair, easy grin, and a job fixing transmissions at Old Man Hargrove's garage, Jeremy figured he'd hit the jackpot with Keith. Keith Donovan, the golden boy from Cincinnati who'd blown into town 3 years back like a rogue breeze off Lake Erie. Tall, broad-shouldered, with eyes like polished oak and a laugh that could coax smiles from the grumpiest congregation at First Baptist. They'd met at the annual Harvest Festival, Jeremy elbow-deep in a '72 Chevy's oil pan when Keith sauntered up, nursing a beer and a secret. "You ever think cars have souls?" Keith had asked, his voice low and teasing, fingers brushing Jeremy's grease-streaked forearm. It was electric, that touch innocent to anyone watching, but a spark that ignited something Jeremy had buried deep since high school whispers and locker room shoves. By midnight, under the Ferris wheel's flickering lights, they'd shared their first kiss, tentative and tasting of cotton candy and stolen courage. From there, it snowballed. Stolen weekends in Keith's cramped apartment above the hardware store, where they'd cook spaghetti from a box and binge old westerns. Keith's head on Jeremy's lap as John Wayne drawled about taming the wild. Keith opened up slow, like a rusted lock, divorced parents, a stint in the Marines that left scars he traced with Jeremy's fingertips under moonlight filtering through threadbare curtains. "You're my anchor, he'd murmur, pulling him close, their bodies fitting like puzzle pieces Jeremy never knew were missing. Jeremy, who'd lost his mom to cancer at 16 and patched his heart with sarcasm and socket wrenches, finally felt whole. But Willow Creek wasn't forgiving. The town clung to its Bible Belt roots like kudzu on a fence post, Sunday sermons thundering about sin, potlucks where gossip flowed freer than sweet tea. Jeremy's dad, Tom, a deacon with calloused hands from 40 years preaching from the pulpit, had eyed Keith warily from the start. "Good man, that one," Tom would grunt over breakfast, but his gaze lingered, probing for cracks. Jeremy kept their love hidden at first, quick hugs masked as bro slaps, fishing trips that were really escapes to motels in Dayton. But love's a leaky dam. Eventually, it bursts. It started with a slip. At the 4th of July barbecue, Keith's arm slung casual around Jeremy's waist as fireworks popped overhead. Mrs. Ellis, the church busybody with a perm like steel wool, had squinted through the smoke. "Y'all seem mighty close," she'd cooed, and Jeremy's stomach had twisted like a timing belt. That night, Keith held him tighter, whispering, "Screw 'em. We're us." That's enough. But it wasn't. Not when Keith proposed 6 months later, on a crisp October hike through Hocking Hills, dropping to one knee amid rustling leaves with a simple silver band glinting in his palm. "Marry me, Ja?" Not legal here yet, but in our hearts, hell, let's make it official at the church. Show 'em love wins. Jeremy's yes was a sob, joy flooding him like the first rain after drought. They planned a commitment ceremony at First Baptist, bold, defiant, a middle finger to the whispers. Tom balked at first, his face paling like milk gone sour. But Jeremy's plea, "Dad, this is my salvation," cracked him. "If it makes you happy, son." Tom relented, though his eyes screamed unspoken sermons. Word spread like wildfire through dry grass. Invites went out to the garage crew, Keith's co-workers at the feed mill, even a few progressive cousins from Cleveland. The church hall buzzed with preparations. Folding chairs draped in white, wildflowers from Jeremy's sister's garden, a playlist of Springsteen ballads for the reception. Keith threw himself into it, his marine precision turning chaos to order, tasting cakes at the diner, arguing bow tie versus no tie with a grin that lit Jeremy's world. Yet shadows crept in. Keith grew distant those last weeks. Phone calls from his mom in Cincinnati stretching longer, excuses piling like snowdrifts. Family stuff, he'd say, kissing Jeremy's forehead, but his eyes darted like a deer scenting wolves. Jeremy chalked it to nerves, the weight of standing before God and gossips alike. He didn't see the tremor in Keith's hands when they practiced vows in the garage, lit by a single hanging bulb, or the way Keith's laugh rang hollow now, echoing off oil cans. The day arrived under a sky bruised purple, November chill seeping through the church's stone walls. Jeremy fidgeted in the vestry, adjusting his rented tux, crisp white shirt, black slacks hugging his lean frame, a boutonniere of blue hydrangea pinned crooked. His sister, Lena, fussed with his collar, her eyes misty. "You look like a movie star, Jeff." "Keith's the luckiest bastard alive." Tom clapped his shoulder, voice gruff. "Proud of you, boy. This is brave." The organ swelled, Pachelbel's canon, a concession to tradition, and Jeremy walked the aisle, heart hammering like a V8 engine redlining. Faces blurred, Hargrove dabbing his eyes, Mrs. Ellis pursed lips stiff, a sea of tentative smiles. His spot at the altar waited, velvet rope marking sacred ground. He turned, breath catching for Keith, his rock, his home, to step forward. But Keith didn't. The altar trembled under Jeremy's grip, the weight of 200 eyes boring into his back like Judgment Day spotlights. "Keith," he whispered, voice cracking like thunder in the hushed sanctuary. But the spot beside him, meant for vows, for forever, was empty, a void colder than the winter wind rattling the stained glass panes. In that heartbeat of silence, a folded letter fluttered from the empty chair, landing at his feet like a guillotine's blade, its scrawled words already searing his soul. "I'm sorry, Jeff. I can't. The truth is, I'm not who you think." Gasps rippled through the pews like wind through wheat. Jeremy's knees buckled. He snatched the paper, ink blurring under his thumb as rain began to patter against the roof, a dirge for dreams dying. Tom's voice boomed from the front row. "Son, what's—" But Jeremy was already stumbling toward the side door, letter clutched like a grenade, the congregation's murmurs chasing him into the storm. Outside, wind whipped his tux tails, rain lashing his face as he tore open the folds. Keith's handwriting, usually steady as a rifle barrel, shook here. By now, you're wondering where the hell I am. God, I wish I could look you in the eye for this. I love you, Christ. I love you more than breath, more than the stars we counted on that rooftop in August. But I lied. Not about us. Never that. About me. My family's not just old-school Catholic. They're poison. Dad's dying. Pancreatic. 3 months tops. He called last week. Begged me to come home. Make it right before he goes. Right means straight. Means renouncing you. The lifestyle. All of it. He threatened to cut me off. Not money, but the only family I got left. Mom's already half gone, whispering prayers for my soul like I'm possessed. I thought I could tough it out, Marine style. But seeing you today, so damn beautiful, ready to fight the world for us. I can't drag you into this hell. The truth? I'm scared. Scared I'll break you. Scared I'll lose you to their hate. So I'm going back to Cincinnati. Fix things. Or fake it. Whatever it takes. Don't follow. Don't hate me. Just live. Be the man who taught me love's worth the war. Forever yours. Even if goodbye. Keith. Jeremy sank to the church steps. Sobs wrenching from his gut like barbed wire. Lightning cracked overhead, illuminating the letter's creases, each fold a fracture in his heart. Betrayed? No. Worse. Abandoned for ghosts. Sacrificed on the altar of blood ties thicker than vows. The door creaked. Lena emerged, umbrella forgotten, her arms enveloping him as thunder rolled. He's gone, Jeremy choked, thrusting the letter at her. She read, face crumpling, then pulled him tighter. Oh, baby brother. We'll find him. This ain't over. But as rain soaked them through, Jeremy wondered if it ever could be. Willow Creek's lights twinkled mocking in the downpour, a town that preached forgiveness but devoured its own. Keith's absence echoed louder than any sermon, a void where promises once bloomed. And in that deluge, Jeremy Harper, rejected not just for being gay but for daring to love loud, began to drown. The days blurred into a gray haze after the non-wedding, Willow Creek's pity pressing on Jeremy like a lead apron at the dentist. Folks meant well. Hargrove sent over a casserole congealing with ground beef and unspoken judgment. Lena stocked his fridge with beer and bad rom-coms, but condolences curdled quick. By Monday, whispers turned to stares at the IGA. Mrs. Ellis hissing to her bridge club. Poor boy. Led astray by that city slicker. Jeremy avoided the garage. Holing up in his duplex on Elm Street, a shoebox with peeling wallpaper and ghosts in the corners. Keith's scent lingered. Faint cologne on the couch pillows, a half-read Tom Clancy novel dog-eared on the nightstand. Jeremy traced the spine, fingers ghosting pages where Keith's highlights underlined lines about loyalty, irony twisting like a knife. He tried calling. Of course, voicemails piling like unpaid bills, Keith's line going straight to silence after the third day. Texts bounced unread. Talk to me. Please. This isn't you. I love you. Damn it. Radio static. Each one. Tom showed up Tuesday evening, rain still drizzling from his trucker cap, bearing a six-pack and the weight of unspoken sermons. They sat on the sagging porch, cracking cans as cicadas buzzed elegies. Son, Tom started, voice gravelly from years of fire and brimstone. I ain't one for this modern stuff. But I saw your face up there. Like your mama when the chemo hit hard. He paused, swigging deep, eyes fixed on the street lamp's glow. Keith's a fool if he let that go. But maybe. God's got a plan. Jeremy barked a laugh, bitter as black coffee. Plan, Dad? Your God's the one who built this town on love thy neighbor, while they sharpen pitchforks for guys like me. Tom's flinch was visible, a crack in the deacon's armor. I know I failed you there, he admitted. Lo. Raised you on verses that twisted wrong. But you're my blood. Gay, straight, don't matter. You're Harper stock. Tough as hickory. It was the closest to absolution Jeremy'd get, and he clung to it, clinking cans in truce. Lena dragged him out Wednesday for retail therapy at the Dayton Mall, a fluorescent purgatory of escalators and overpriced pretzels. You need distraction, not decay, she insisted, shoving a graphic tee into his arms, some band he'd never heard of, emblazoned with rainbows that felt like mockery. As they wandered, Jeremy's phone buzzed. Not Keith, but an unknown Cincinnati number. Heart slamming, he answered. Donovan residence. A woman's voice, clipped and cool. Keith's mom, Evelyn. Jeremy? About Keith. Her tone iced his veins. He arrived yesterday. Upset. Talking nonsense about commitments. A pause. Heavy as lead. Families handling it. Best you move on. Click. Jeremy stared at the dead screen, mall chatter fading to white noise. Lena snatched the phone, dialing back voicemail. Again. Bitch, she spat. Loyal firebrand that she was. We'll drive up tomorrow. Stake out his ass. But Jeremy waved her off, numbness settling like frost. That night, alone, he cracked open Keith's letter again, words blurring through bourbon haze. Scared I'll break you. Bullshit. Keith had already shattered him, fleeing for a dying father's whim. Betrayal stung deepest, not the leaving, but the lie of their strength. Had it all been facade? The proposals, the plans, a Marines drill, precision-masked panic? Dawn Thursday found him at the garage. Hargrove's sympathetic grunt his welcome. Take the day, kid. Or don't. Your call. Jeremy dove into work. Torque wrench a lifeline. Oil his baptism. A '98 Ford pickup rolled in. Driver a burly guy named Ray from the mill. Keith's buddy. Face shadowed under a John Deere cap. Heard about the clusterfuck, Ray rumbled, handing over keys. Keith. He's a mess, man. Called me last night, slurring 'bout sins and second guesses. Said to tell you he's sorry. Real sorry. Jeremy's wrench slipped, skinning knuckles bloody. Sorry? That's it. Ray shifted, uncomfortable. Look, his old man's on death's door. Pressuring hard priest visits. Guilt trips thicker than Ohio mud. Keith's always been the pleaser. Marines broke him some, but family, that's the real boot camp. He clapped Jeremy's shoulder, grip firm. Don't write him off. Fights like yours? Worth bleeding for. The words haunted Jeremy through lunch. A soggy PB&J under the hood, stirring embers he'd thought drowned. By quitting time, resolve hardened. Cincinnati, 2 hours north. A reckoning. He texted Lena, road trip. Now. She met him at the duplex, duffel packed with snacks and spite, her Prius humming south on I-75 as twilight bled orange across fields. Cincinnati sprawled gritty and alive, skyline jagged against the river's gleam. Keith's family home squatted in Hyde Park, A brick Tudor with manicured lawn screaming old money. They parked curbside, engine idling like a held breath. Lights flickered upstairs. Keith's old room? Jeremy's pulse thrummed, fingers itching for the door. Wait, Lena hissed. Plan first. But plans dissolved when Keith emerged. Silhouette stark against porch glow, trash bag in hand like a reluctant soldier. He froze, spotting the Prius, then bolted inside. Jeremy was out before Lena could grab him, sprinting across dew-slick grass. Keith, wait! The door slammed, lock clicking. Jeremy pounded, fist raw. Open up. We need to talk. Muffled voices inside. Evelyn's shrill. A man's wheeze, the father. Then Keith's. Cracked. Go away. Please. For you. Sobs choked the plea, gut-punching Jeremy to his knees. Lena hauled him back as cop lights flashed distant. Nosy neighbors? Tires squealing retreat. Back on 75. Rain sheeting windshield. Jeremy shattered. He looked broken. He gasped, tears hot. Lena gripped the wheel white-knuckled. Then we fight smarter. Hack his socials. Tail him at work. This ain't goodbye. It's halftime. But as mile markers blurred, doubt gnawed. Was love a battlefield or a graveyard? Keith's fear, a chasm wider than the Ohio River, threatened to swallow them whole. Friday dawned with a funeral notice in the Cincinnati Enquirer. Thomas Donovan, beloved husband, father, passing peacefully. Jeremy's gut twisted. Lena forwarded it with a single emoji. Fire. He called in sick. Driving solo this time. Floral shop detour for lilies. Keith's mom's favorite. Irony's gift. The service-packed St. Xavier's. A cathedral of vaulted ceilings and veiled sorrow. Jeremy slipped in back row anonymous. Collar up. Heart exposed. Keith stood pallbearer stiff in the receiving line. Suit hanging loose on his frame. Eyes hollowed like spent shells. When their gazes locked, Jeremy half hidden by a pillar, Keith's face crumpled. A damn breach. He excused himself mid-handshake, weaving aisles to Jeremy, yanking him into a shadowed vestibule. What the hell are you doing here? Keith hissed, but his hands clutched Jeremy's arms. Desperate anchors. Same as you, saying goodbye, Jeremy shot back, voice steel over ache. To us? Your letter said forever. Keith. This, he jabbed the Enquirer's printout. This is your out? Running home to play prodigal? Keith deflated, forehead to Jeremy's shoulder, breath ragged. Dad. He confessed on his deathbed. Not just sick, broke. Gambled the house, the savings. Mom's clueless, thinks it's cancer's toll. He made me promise. Fix it, stay straight, save the family name. Or we'd all crash. Tears soaked Jeremy's lapel. I couldn't let you drown too. You're light. This. Jeremy cupped Keith's jaw, thumb tracing stubble. We're both messes. But together, we're a goddamn masterpiece. The organ swelled recessional. Keith pulled away, haunted. Meet me tonight. Fountain Square, 10 p.m. No promises. Then he was gone, swallowed by mourners, leaving Jeremy adrift in echoes. Night fell electric, city pulse sinking Jeremy's dread. Fountain Square shimmered under strings of lights, Tyler Davidson's fountain gushing like unshed sobs. 10:05, 10:10, empty benches, Laughter from bar hoppers mocking his vigil. At 10:22, the figure approached. Not Keith, but Ray, cap low. He bailed. Man. Mom found out about you, flipped. Locked him in. Bible quotes flying. Says you're the devil's whisper. Rage boiled Jeremy's blood. Then we break him out. Ray chuckled dark. Crazy fits you. Back entrance. Service door. Codes 1942. His old man's birth year. But this might end ugly. It did. The tutor loomed silent. Evelyn's Cadillac gone. Bridge game solace? Jeremy punched code. Slipping hall-shadowed to Keith's room. Door ajar. Keith packing frantic. Duffel half-zipped. No. Alarm widened his eyes. Shut up and come with me, Jeremy growled, grabbing his hand. They bolted stairs. Evelyn's gasp freezing them mid-flight. Keith Donovan, you sinner. But momentum won. Truck roaring to life as her screams chased taillights. Interstate blacktop unspooled. Keith white-knuckled passenger. She'll never forgive, he whispered, dawn gilding his regret. Jeremy glanced over. Love fierce. Forgive? Screw that. We're writing our own gospel. Willow Creek waited. Judgment be damned. But as sun crested, Keith's phone lit. Unknown caller. Evelyn's voice venom. You left this. A photo attachment. Jeremy's boutonniere. Discarded on church steps. Captioned burn it. Climax brewed. Betrayal's embers flaring anew. Willow Creek welcomed them back with autumn's dying gasp. Leaves carpeting Main Street in crimson regret. Air crisp as fresh betrayal. Jeremy's duplex felt smaller now. Walls closing like a confessional booth. Keith's duffel thumping corner like an accusation. They collapsed on the couch. Bone-weary. Keith's head lolling to Jeremy's chest as silence stretched taut. I thought I'd lost you, Jeremy murmured, fingers carting through Keith's sweat-damp hair, inhaling the familiar mix of aftershave and fear. Keith stirred. Eyes shadowed. You almost did. Every mile from Cincy, I kept thinking, turn back, fix Dad's mess, play the role. Mom's calls. They're vultures. Circling, quoting Leviticus like ammo. He sat up, elbows on knees, marine posture cracking. But you at the funeral, showing up like that, braver than any battlefield I saw. His hand found Jeremy's, interlacing fingers, a lifeline, fragile. They talked till dawn, words tumbling like loose gravel. Keith's boyhood under Tom's iron rule. Evelyn's rosaries chafing wrists raw. The Marines as escape. Sandstorms scouring secrets clean until Jeremy's laugh unearthed them. I fell first, Keith confessed. Voice raw. That festival night. Watching you wrench that Chevy. Grease on your cheek. Grin sly. Thought, this guy's trouble. The best kind. Jeremy laughed. Watery. Pulling him into a kiss slow as molasses. Forgiveness tasted sweet. Salted with tears. Morning brought normalcy's facade. Coffee brewing. Eggs sizzling. Keith borrowing Jeremy's flannel against the chill. At the garage, Hargrove raised a brow but clapped Keith's back. About time, son. While Ray shot Jeremy a wink over a carburetor. Whispers lingered. Sure. Church ladies crossing streets. Tom's sermons skirting prodigal paths. But for a week, it held. Stolen lunches at the diner, where Keith's foot hooked Jeremy's under Formica. Evenings hiking the creek, hands swinging free, love reclaiming ground inch by inch. Cracks spiderweb subtle. Keith's phone buzzed constant. Evelyn's voicemail stacking. First please, come home, baby. We need you. Then Barb's, that boy's poison. Remember your soul. He'd delete them silent, but Jeremy saw the flinch, the way Keith's laugh faltered mid-joke. One night, post-dinner lovemaking, sheets tangled, breath sinking, Keith bolted upright, staring, ceiling cracked. What if they're right? What if I am broken? Jeremy propped on elbow, tracing Keith's scar-laced chest. Broken? Hell, we're all shattered glass. Question is, do we cut each other or catch the light? Keith's smile ghosted, but sleep evaded, ghosts pacing floorboards. The bomb dropped mid-November, frost glazing pumpkins on porches. Jeremy came home early, oil under nails, to find Keith at the kitchen table, Evelyn's letter open like a wound. Not typed, hand-scrawled, Evelyn's elegant cursive venomous. Dearest Keith, your fathers will arrive today. You know the terms, the house, the trust, contingent on reconciliation. On family. That deviant you dragged through our grief, he's the chain around your neck. Come home by Thanksgiving, renounce this abomination, or watch your inheritance, your legacy, burn. For your soul's sake, and mine. I raised you better. Mother, Jeremy's world tilted. She leveraged Dad's death. Keith's nod was wooden. The gambling covered it with life insurance, but the codicil Dad's last jab. Keep the line pure, he wrote. Straight, saved, or nothing. Rage flared Jeremy's chest. So what? We don't need their blood money. We've got us. But Keith's eyes. Oh, those eyes clouded doubt. It's not just cash. Mom's alone now. Sick herself. Heart flutters. Doctors vague. If I bail, she crumbles. And me, back to scraping by. No roots. He stood, pacing linoleum worn thin. I left once. Can't do it twice. Left. Jeremy's voice rose, shattering fragile peace. You fled, Keith. Left me at the altar like some bad country song. Now this? Choose us or their puppet strings. Keith froze, face ashen. It's not that simple. Love's not a battlefield if it leaves casualties. The fight erupted supernova. Words as shrapnel. Jeremy hurling Keith's duffel. Pack again? Run back to mommy? Keith countering. You don't get it. Family's blood. Not choice. A vase shattered against wall. Wildflowers scattering like confetti from a funeral. Keith stormed out. Truck engine roaring into night. Taillights red gashes in fog. Lena found Jeremy at 2 a.m., curled on porch steps, bourbon bottle half empty. Idiot, she sighed, wrapping him in her coat. Men and their macho standoffs. Call him tomorrow. Apologize first. But dawn brought no Keith. Truck gone from the mill lot. Ray texting cryptic. Headed east. Needed space. Panic clawed Jeremy's throat. He drove blind, pounding pavement from creek trails to the feed store. Questions burning. Suicide watch? Another vanishing act? Tom answered his frantic call. Voice steady. Come to the church, son. Pray it out. Jeremy scoffed. Your God's batting 0. But went. Vestry dim with candle glow. Tom's Bible open to prodigals. Sit, Tom urged. No preach, just presence. Jeremy spilled Keith's letter, the will, The war inside. Tom listened, fingers steepled. Love's a storm. Rages, wrecks, but clears to blue. Your mama and me fought like cats till she got sick. Vowed to fight for, not against. He slid a photo across. Young Tom and Mary, arms linked at a drive-in. Grins defiant. Keith scared, like I was. Give him grace. And yourself. Grace tasted ash. But Jeremy texted, I'm sorry. Doors open. Always. Hours ticked. Silence deafening. Evening brought Lena's scheme. Track his phone. That app we installed for the hike. Ping Ohio 32. Eastbound. Toward Indiana line. Jeremy gunned the Chevy. Heart in overdrive. Lena shotgun with a thermos of coffee and curses for Evelyn. They caught him at a roadside diner. Neon eat, buzzing like accusation. Keith hunched over pie. Fork stalled. Jeremy slid into booth opposite. Lena hovering guard. Running again? Soft. No barb. Keith's shoulders sagged. To Indy. Cousin's got a couch. Mill job maybe. Figured space to think. Think. Jeremy leaned in. Voice low thunder. Or escape. Face it. Keith, we're endgame. Their poison antidotes us. Keith's eyes welled. Pie forgotten. What if I can't? What if love's not enough against this? He tapped the letter in his pocket. Evelyn's noose. Lena cleared throat. Bull. My brother's enough for 10 men. You? Prove it. She stalked out, leaving them cocooned in vinyl quiet. Keith's hand crept across table. Tentative. I miss you. Already. Jeremy covered it. Thumb circling knuckle. Then stay. Fight with me. Dawn found them tangled in the diner's back booth. Plans hatching over refills. Lawyer for the will. Boundaries for Evelyn. Letters unanswered. Visits vetoed. Keith nodded. Resolve flickering. For us. They drove back tandem. Lena's Prius tailing like chaperone. Willow Creek's lights a beacon. Not cage. But betrayal's shadow lingered. Thanksgiving loomed. Tom's table set neutral. Turkey thawing. No sermons promised. Keith showed. Tentative. Evelyn's absence a ghost. Over pie. Tom raised glass. To family. Chosen kind. Toasts clinked. Warmth seeping cracks. Then Keith's phone chimed. Evelyn. Video call insistent. He answered reluctant. Her face pinched screen small. Thanksgiving alone? Because of him. Venom dripped. Keith's jaw set. Mom. Enough. I'm happy. That's the legacy Dad wanted. Right? Not chains. She gasped. Theatrical. Happy? Sodom's lie. Your father's rolling. Click. Keith exhaled. Shattered but standing. Jeremy squeezed his thigh under table. Pride swelling. Victory small, but real. Winter deepened. Snow blanketing sins. They rebuilt. Commitment redo. Quiet courthouse steps. Lena witness. Rings exchanged simple. Love deepened. Raw now. Forged in fire. Keith started therapy via church outreach. Irony's gift. Unpacking marine ghosts. Family knots. Jeremy tagged along once. Waiting room thumbing magazines. Emerging to Keith's sheepish grin. Turns out, I'm not broken. Just bent. Christmas Eve. First Baptist aglow. They attended neutral back pew. Hands linked hidden. Tom's sermon veered grace. Love bears all, believes all. Eyes met Jeremy's, nod subtle. Post-service, snow falling fat flakes. Keith pulled Jeremy under awning. Remember that letter? Shocking truth? It was me all along. Scared shitless. But yours. Kiss in snowfall. World hushed. But humanism's edge cut. Evelyn's Christmas card arrived, unsigned. Photo of empty chair at table. Caption waiting. Keith burned at hearthside. Ashes swirling. Her loss. Spring thawed. But old wounds suppurate. Ray called April. Evelyn's in hospital. Heart. Asking for you. Keith. Dilemma daggered. Keith paced nights. Torn. Blood's call versus hard-won peace. If I go. Disclosure. No more. Jeremy nodded, masking fear. Go. But come back. Airport drop-off. Hug crushing. Always, Keith vowed. Boarding pass crumpled like old letters. 2 days radio silence. Then texts she's weak. Forgives? Maybe. 3rd day. Called Ja? Mom. She knew. About Dad's gambling. The will pushed it to keep me close. Afraid of alone. Shock rippled. And me, Keith's voice cracked. Said you're good for me. Stronger than I ever was. Wants to meet. Someday. Relief flooded. Tears hot. Tell her. Welcome. Keith laughed. First real in months. Love you. Anchor. But climax crested May. Willow Creek Fair. Booths steaming funnel cake. Midway lights winking. Keith returned. Evelyn's ring on chain around neck. Her mother's. For new beginnings. They strolled arm in arm open now. Heads high. Town stairs softening to shrugs. Under Ferris wheel. Full circle. Keith knelt again. Not proposal. But promise. We're past shocks. Just truth, you and me. Against whatever. Ring slipped finger. Simple gold. Cheers erupted, Lena's whoop loudest. Yet humanism whispered caution. Love's not fairy tale. But human, flawed. Fierce. Evelyn visited summer. Tea awkward on porch. Olive branch trembling. I was wrong, she admitted. Eyes down. Fears the real sin. Keith hugged her tentative. Jeremy watching. Heart full. Years spun. Garage promotions. Keith's carpentry side hustle. Adoptions talked in whispers. Chosen family expanding. Betrayal's faded scars. Reminders to hold tight. One November Eve. Church steps where letter fell. Jeremy traced Keith's palm. Shocking truth, Keith teased. We're unbreakable. Laughter echoed. Rain held off. Stars winking approval. In America's heartland, 2 men wove love's tapestry. Dramatic threads. Emotional warps. Romantic wefts, human. Whole. Summer's swelter gave way to autumn's amber haze. Willow Creek's rhythms syncing with Jeremy and Keith's fragile new normal. The garage hummed busier. Tourists from the hills limping in with overheated radiators. Jeremy's hands steady on tools while his mind wandered to Keith's latest project. A custom mantle for the duplex. Oak carved with intertwined initials. J&K like a brand against forgetting. Evenings. They'd sand it together on the back stoop. Sawdust coating jeans. Keith's stories of Marine buddies morphing from bravado to vulnerability. Lost Ramirez to an IED. Held his hand. Watched life leak out. Promised I'd live loud for him. You're my loud. Keith's therapy dug deeper. Sessions spilling into late-night confessions over microwave popcorn. Evelyn's manipulations rooted in her own youth. A shotgun wedding to Tom Sr. Dreams of art school crushed under duty's boot. She saw me slipping same path, Keith mused, popping kernels absently. Pushed harder to save me. Jeremy listened. No judgment, just presence, a skill honed from years dodging Dad's doctrines. Saving's overrated, he'd say, nuzzling Keith's neck. Surviving together? That's the win. Evelyn's olive branch wilted slow. Post-hospital. Her cards arrived weekly, stiff Hallmark stock at first, thinking of you. Evolving to personal. A recipe for Irish soda bread. Keith's childhood favorite. Clipped with try this. For old times. He baked it one Sunday. Kitchen flour-dusted chaos. Jeremy stealing bites mid-need. Tastes like regret, Keith joked. But his eyes softened, dialing her hesitant. Mom? Yeah, it's good. Send more. The call stretched half-hour. Voices overlapping awkward whether Tom's old sermons, skirting the chasm. Ended with love you. From her, echoed back. Jeremy high-fived him post-hang-up. Progress. Marine. But nights. Keith tossed, murmuring apologies to ghosts. Jeremy anchored him. Whispers in dark. You're enough. We are. Town thawed incremental. Hargrove hosted a welcome-back barbecue. Grill smoke veiling stairs. Ray toasting to second acts. With a wink. Mrs. Ellis even nodded at the post office. Her bless your hearts laced less acid. Tom's evolution stunned most. Deacon no more. He volunteered at the LGBTQ Youth Center in Dayton, driving Jeremy there for panels. Tell him your story, son. Might save a kid from the jump. Pride swelled Jeremy's chest. Over coffee runs, Tom admitted, your mama would have loved this. She saw hearts, not labels. Climax simmered through Indian summer. Fairgrounds gearing for the annual Willow Days. Carnival lights strung. Livestock barns primed for blue ribbons. Jeremy and Keith volunteered booth duty, slinging hay bales for the hayride. Laughter bubbling as kids clamored for pony rides. Remember our first festival? Keith murmured, hay prickled arm brushing Jeremy's. Felt like stealing fire. Jeremy grinned. Stealing a kiss quick behind the cotton candy cart brazen. Alive. But fire steals back. Eve of the fair. Evelyn called unprompted. Keith, I'm coming. Tomorrow. To see. Everything. Her voice quavered. Steel bent. Keith paled. Phone slipping. Mom? You sure? Affirmative. Clipped. Time to face it. Or lose you for good. Jeremy caught the drop. Heart trip hammer. This it? The reckoning? Keith nodded. Jaw tight. Yeah. Pray for me. Jeff. Not your dad's God, yours. They prepped frantic. Duplex scrubbed. Tom's famous ribs thawing. Lena on deck for buffer. Night dissolved in lovemaking urgent. Bodies mapping familiar terrain. Keith's gasps don't let go mantra against Jeremy's skin. Dawn broke muggy. Evelyn's rental pulling curb at 10 sharp. A sensible accord. Her stepping out in pearls and slacks. Face lined but resolute. Hug stiff. Air thick as sorghum. Tour of Willow Creek. Garage grease-glorid. Creekside picnic where Keith carved their names years back in birch bark. Still legible. Evelyn traced it silent. Fingers lingering. Fairgrounds buzzed chaos. Fiddles wailing. Funnel cake frying. Midway barkers hollering. They wandered tandem, Evelyn's arm tentative on Keith's, Jeremy flanking like sentinel. Kids' squeals masked murmurs, but eyes followed, the prodigal, the mother, the lover. At the Ferris wheel, Hugh snaking, Evelyn halted, voice low. Keith, I was wrong. So wrong. Your father, he twisted me young, fear into faith. Seeing you here, happy? Holy, Keith's throat bobbed. Then why the will, the threats? Evelyn winced, eyes misting. Desperation. Afraid you'd leave like he almost did. Affair, early days. Pushed you to stay safe. But safe's cage, isn't it? She turned to Jeremy, hand extended. You. Thank you. For loving my boy fierce. Handshake electric. Jeremy's welcome gruff past lump. Will crested. Cab swaying gentle. Cityscape sprawling Ohio's heart. Beating open. Below. Lena waved from hayride. Tom beside her. Bible swapped for cotton candy stick. Laughter cascaded. Barriers crumbling. But drama's not linear. Betrayal's echo lingered. Midway games. Ring toss rigged. Keith's phone buzzed. Unknown. Insistent. Answered discreet. Face draining. Aunt Clara? What? No. Hang up. To Jeremy. Mom's will. She changed it last week. Everything to charity LGBT causes. For the family I shorted, she says. Left me. Nothing. But a letter. Evelyn. Overhearing. Deflated. Clara blabbed? I wanted to tell you gentle. Keith's shock morphed fury. Nothing? After all. Evelyn met his gaze. Unflinching. Not nothing. Freedom. No strings. No guilt. Take it as absolution. Tears tracked her cheeks. First crack in facade. Keith staggered. Jeremy catching elbow. She gave up everything. Evelyn nodded. Worth it. For this gesture encompassed fair. Them love's carnival. Keith crumpled into her. Sobs muffled in shoulder. Years weight lifting. Jeremy enveloped both. Triad mending. Evening waned. Fireworks bursting starbursts overhead. Reds. Blues. Golds raining like blessings. Blanket spread on hill. Evelyn between sons of choice. They watched silent. Hands linked chain. Shocking. Ha! Keith whispered later. Jeremy's head pillowed on chest. Mom's truth. Love over legacy. Jeremy smiled into dark. Ours always was. Evelyn stayed weak. Baking bread. Stories swapped. Her Paris dreams. Keith's sandbox forts. Departure hug lingered. Promise. Visits. Not vanishings. Accord taillights faded. But warmth stayed. Fall deepened. Leaves torching trees. Keith's mantle installed. Initials glowing hearthside. Tom's Thanksgiving swelled inclusive. Evelyn invited. Arriving tentative. Table groaning yams and yields. Toasts to second chances. Glasses clinking harmony. Post-feast walk. Snow flurrying first. Evelyn linked arms both. Family's not blood. It's this. Winter wrapped gentle. Holidays hybrid. Hanukkah candles with Lena's Jewish in-laws. Christmas Eve at church. Tom's sermon Redemption's Road. Eyes on Keith misty. New Year's. Duplex party small. Ray. Hargrove. Youth Center kids ball drop countdown to us. Cheers. Spring bloomed defiant. dogwoods pink against blue. Jeremy proposed formal, dinner at the diner, ring in pie slice. Keith's yes hooped loud enough for busboys. Wedding planned summer, backyard affair, tents, wildflowers, Tom's officiating sans scripture, just heart. But humanism tempers triumph. Evelyn's health faltered June, flutters to flutters full. Keith flew often, Jeremy tagging weekends, hospital vigils where she'd squeeze hands duel. You too, my miracle. Last days, hospice hushed. She whispered to Keith, no regrets. Love loud, past peaceful, June full moon witness. Funeral Cincinnati small, her will's charities represented, rainbow pins glinting. Keith eulogized, Mom learned late, but learned. Taught me. Truth shocks, but heals. Jeremy held him post. Graveside, dirt fresh. She chose us, Keith breathed. Jeremy nodded. And we choose on. Summer wedding dawned golden. Backyard transformed. Arches wild rosed. Chairs hay bale draped. Vows exchanged sunset. Tom's by love's power binding. Dance floor gravel rough. Springsteen crooning Thunder Road. Bodies swaying close. Fireflies danced. Guests toasting to truths revealed. Night deepened. Stars pricking velvet. Jeremy and Keith slipped away. Porch swing creaking. From altar empty to this, Keith marveled. Ring glinting. Jeremy kissed knuckles. Shocking journey. Best kind. Love's arc bent. Not broke. Dramatic dips. Emotional swells. Romantic rises. Humanistic close. Flawed souls. Mended whole. The years unfurled like a well-worn roadmap. Creased but cherished. Guiding Jeremy and Keith through America's vast, varied terrain. Willow Creek remained anchor. Garage upgraded to full shop. Keith's carpentry blooming into a studio crafting queer icons. Carved wedding bands etched with circuits of stars. Mantles bearing names of lovers lost to AIDS. Commissioned for memorials in Cleveland's Pride Centers. Their duplex traded for a craftsman bungalow on the outskirts. Porch swing where proposals replayed in sunset silences. Garden plot yielding tomatoes red as redemption. Fatherhood crept in subtle. First as foster whispers at the youth center. Teens adrift. Stories echoing Jeremy's high school hides. We could, Keith ventured one frost-laced November. Post-panel. Driving home with hot cocoa steaming. Jeremy's yes tentative. Then fierce. Applications filed. Home studies passed with Tom's reference glowing. Men of character. First placement. Eli. 16. Sharp-tongued with fade haircut and walls high as Ohio barns. Ain't no dads for me, he spat a rival night. Duffel clutched like shield. But persistence chipped. Keith's marine tales over burgers. Jeremy's garage fixes on Eli's beat-up skateboard. Cracks widened. Movie nights devolving to gut spills about deadbeat bio dad. Church kicks for sissy ways. By spring, Eli's pops slipped casual. Keith's grin splitting face. Adoption finalized summer solstice. Backyard bash with fairy lights and Lena's cake tower. Eli's middle name Harper. Nod to anchors. Evelyn's absence echoed soft now. Her bequest funding scholarships. Queer kids from Bible Belt towns. Letters arriving thank you scrawled. Your mom's story gave me courage. Keith read them aloud holidays. Voice thick. Jeremy's arm steel. Tom's health waned parallel. Prostate shadow. Treatments dragging, but sermons shifted permanent. Guest spots at Dayton's queer-affirming chapel. Grace for all wanderers. Conflict resurfaced ripples. Never title but testing. Willow Creek's new pastor. Firebrand transplant from Alabama. Pulpit-pounding abominations that drew protest lines. Rainbow flags versus crosses. Chants clashing like thunder. Jeremy and Keith marched front. Eli beside clutching sign Love Wins. Ray's crew blocking counter-protesters. Night after. Bruises blooming. Keith's jaw purpled from a shove. They patched ice packs on kitchen table. Eli's "You okay, Dad?" Cracking Keith open. Better than ever, kid. Fighting's family tradition. Betrayal's ghost visited rare. Eli's biomom surfacing sophomore year. Custody bid desperate. Addict cleanish. Lawyer slick. Courtroom sterile. Her eyes pleading past polish. He's mine. Keith's testimony steady. Blood start. Not story. Judge ruled hold. But wound festered. Eli withdrawing. Slams doorbound. Nights. Jeremy mediated circles. Hurts hurricane. But we're levee. Keith's letters to Evelyn's memory unearthed. She chose wrong once. We choose right. Eli resurfaced gradual. Tattoo inked chosen on wrist. Keith's marine ink mirrored. Romance rekindled constant. Small flames fed. Anniversary drives to Hocking Hills. Tent pitched where proposal bloomed. Stars same witnesses. Keith's surprise 40th. Hot air balloon over corn mazes. Jeremy's whoop wind whipped. Lovemaking evolved deeper. Bodies maps of scars. Keith's shrapnel pox. Jeremy's wrench burns. Tongues tracing tales. You're my shocking truth. Keith murmur post-climax. Jeremy's laugh muffled in shoulder. Climax crested Eli's wedding eve. 5 years on, a garden affair in Cleveland. His groom Marcus a lithe artist with locks and laugh infectious. Rehearsal dinner toasts tiered. Marcus's, you gave me a son. Lena's, from altar runaway to this poetic. But dawn brought storm. Eli's cold feet. Pacing bungalow guest room. What if I bolt like? Echo of Keith's letter. Unspoken. Jeremy and Keith tag-team dawn patrol. Coffee brewed. Porch sit-down raw. Scared's normal, Keith admitted. Own ghost stirred. I ran once. Regretted every mile. Jeremy added. Love's not chain its wings. Fly, kid. We catch if you fall. Eli's nod watery. Hug crushing. Ceremony sunset. Vows fierce. Through shocks and truths. I choose you. Dance floor spun. Fathers of groom swaying to Springsteen. Eli's grin mirror of their wedding whirl. Post-honeymoon. Empty nest loomed. But they filled it forward. Travels Route 66 road trip. Grand Canyon gazes hand in hand. Volunteering abroad. Thailand orphanage where Keith's carpentry built playhouses. Jeremy's fixes rigged water pumps. Homecoming sweeter. Bungalow echoing less hollow. Aging crept gentle. Keith's knees creaked marine old. Jeremy's hair silvering at temples like frost-kissed fields. Tom's passing winter sharp. 86. Pneumonia swift, funeral packed. Eulogies queer inclusive. His will endowing the center, for grace unbound. Graveside. Keith's arm steel. He got it right. Endgame. Humanism's close wove bittersweet. Eli's twins arrived spring burst. Names Harper and Donovan hyphenate. Mini MES with Marcus's curls. Eli's fire. Grandpa duties delighted. Diaper dashes. Bedtime Marines yarns Keith's once upon a deployment. Drawing giggles. Jeremy's shop mentored apprentices. Queer kids wrenching engines. Fix what's bent. Not break. Final shock soft. Keith's diagnosis. Autumn leaf peep. Doctor's office fluorescent harsh. Prostate. Early but insistent. We fight, Jeremy declared. Grip vice. Keith's smile wry. Together? Unbeatable. Treatments tolling. But triumphs small, clear scans. Eli's visits with grandbaby's balm. Evenings. Porch swing ritual. Keith's head Jeremy's lap. Fingers laced. Regrets? Keith asked. Stars wheeling. None, Jeremy always. You? That letter. Keith's chuckle rumble. Best lie ever. Led to truth. Winter's end. Remission declared. They honeymoon retread Hocking Hills. Cabin cozy. Fire crackling. Hike to Proposal Rock. Snowmelt trickling. Keith drops not knee but note. Folded. Like old letter. My shocking truth. Eternity's you. Jeremy unfolds. Tears pricking. Pulls him close. Forever. Anchor. Kiss seals. Wood's whispering witness. Life's tapestry phrase edges. Losses. Ray's heart attack. Quick. Gains. Grandkids' first words. Pop pop. But core holds. Love dramatic in storms weathered. Emotional in depths plumbed. Romantic in glances held. Humanistic in flaws embraced. One November dusk. Church steps revisited. Rebuilt post-storm. Stained glass renewed they stand. Rings glinting. Eli's family orbiting. From here, Keith says, hand warm. To everywhere. Jeremy nods. Heart full. Shocking. Beautiful truth. And in America's weave. Two threads endure, gay. Unbowed. Wholly human.